Hello, and welcome to a special edition of The Hero's Word. Today, I've got all the producers with me. These are the guys that make the show happen, and we're going to be talking about Batman V Superman, Dawn of Justice. Joining myself is Will, John, Stewart, and Mike.
All right, so we're going to talk about reviewing the movie, of course, and we're going to break it down to two portions of it. One is going to be the spoiler-free version, and then we'll go into spoiler-filled. So we're going to start off briefly talking about what we liked about this movie. So we're going to start off with John first. So what did you like about this movie?
Should we just go over like individual parts? You don't want to hear like an overall rating of the movie? Or...
Just go by what you... Go part of the cards. What do you feel?
Okay, I like the Batmobile. I like Affleck as Batman. Wonder Woman. Definitely Wonder Woman. Overall, I did like the movie.
Wow, succinct. Andre.
So yeah, the movie definitely not what I thought it would be like.
What you liked, Andre? What you like?
What I liked about I was getting to that. Yeah. So
it sounded like he was going right into the negative.
No.
Like, he's holding it back. He's holding it back. Like Kylo Ren. He's ready to go.
So visually, I thought there was some really cool scenes with it. The way Superman flew in a couple of scenes. Also, the effects on one particular character were really, really well done. I think overall, like the tone of the movie, it fit the previous movie, Man of Steel, as well as the Dark Knight universe. So I thought it was consistent. So I'd have to give that as a plus. Gal Gadot, I thought was amazing as Wonder Woman. We really didn't see anything of her in the trailers, and I think she was probably the shining star in the movie for me.
All right. Well,
well, going in, I wasn't expecting like the best movie in the world. I had kind of low expectations. The highlights for me were there's some really good Batman fight scenes. I think that was my favorite part of the movie. I really like Ben Affleck as Batman. Everyone else, I don't know. Well, Wonder Woman was pretty good, but I'm not a big fan of like Lex Luthor was horrible.
This is the positive portion of it. Don't forget. We'll get to the negative one momentarily.
There's a short list.
Oh, yeah. What else you got?
Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. I don't know if you guys like that or not, but I thought he was really intimidating as Bruce Wayne.
But Bruce Wayne's not supposed to be.
I don't know.
Let's keep on track, people.
If you watch the animated series, he's like a big kind of like
his look.
Dude.
I really like the way he looks.
Like, he looks like he'd mess you up, right?
Yeah.
The only thing I missed him doing was the salmon ladder. Like I wanted him to like just like go up.
No.
And I'm like, where?
Stephen Amell got
Oh, sorry.
He trademarked that. It's like salmon rack me. That's it. That's the exclusive.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Anything else that you enjoyed?
No, I think that's it.
Finally, to you, my friend. What do you got?
Finally?
Yes.
Anyways, it was a bad movie.
Hold on, come on.
Whoa.
Like
things you liked. Things you liked.
Liked? I'm
Yeah.
like on the same
He's like
page with
Civil
Will.
War trailer at the beginning.
The Batman scene.
So you liked the trailer, and that was pretty
The
much
trailer
it.
was fun. No, the Batman scene was good. When he was fighting the thugs, the way he was using the rappel gun was amazing. Like flipping the boxes over his head, throw them at the enemies, and that was pretty much the gist of the good parts. Wonder Woman was good as well. Like the way she jumped in and fucking took charge a little bit. It was a good feeling, but other than that, yeah.
How about Henry Cavill's hair? Like
Hey?
his hair was like really good in the movie.
Lots of gel.
Yeah, it looked good.
I actually like Bruce Wayne's hair more than.
It did look good with the gray. He's older. He's older than Christian Bale, right?
Should be.
I think so. Yeah.
In real life.
In
he's
real
older.
life, yeah.
He's like
Yeah,
legit
yeah.
older than
So they're-
Christian Bale. Yeah. Legit.
Lots of positives. So let's jump straight to things we didn't like. So we're gonna start we're going to reverse order now. So what did things that you did not
He
like
already
about
covered it.
he wasn't there yet.
There's so much, right? Okay,
Spoiler free.
one of the
Yeah.
biggest ones that caused me to look at some of you guys during the movie and just give a weird look and just be like, "What was that flashback or flash forward scene where he was like, you had the bugs flying in the sky and everything?" I don't feel that fit to the movie at all, like whatsoever. Like, where'd that come from? How does that even fit in? and tell part of that story. Like that's the biggest thing that I was like, huh?
I think that's going to mess a lot of people up. I think that's like
Yeah.
a little kind of breadcrumb they're leaving for.
Yeah.
Breadcrumb. It was like 20 minutes of breadcrumb. That was a loaf of bread.
No, it was maybe 10. It was
That
maybe
was like
10 minutes.
a sliced loaf of Wonder Bread. You know, if you want whole wheat, you got whole wheat because it was just, yeah. If
But
you
whole
don't know
wheat's healthy.
comics-
This had nothing
yeah,
healthy.
whole wheat
It
is
was
healthy.
just
You're,
full of
you are,
shit.
yeah.
Oh boy. Let's jump back to Will.
Just jumping off that, like I had no idea what was going on at that point. I was seeing there's like this is still a spoiler-free part. So,
Spoiler free. Yes.
okay,
Well,
so,
we'll get back into it.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. It's gonna happen in a few minutes.
yeah,
But yeah.
okay. But I think another main thing that I was really shocked at is that Batman was very not who Batman is at the core in the comics, related to like him not killing people, which they covered in a lot of like in the Dark Knight
Which he
movies.
may or
That
may
was
not
like
do later in the movie.
may or may not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in the Dark Knight, that was one of the main points that they were touching on, and they totally ignored that in this movie, which really upset me. That was one of the big points that I was disappointed in. Yeah.
Andre, I know you're holding it back,
Dude, he's
like
gonna
Guy
take over the
Gardner,
podcast.
holding back his
yeah.
willpower.
Yeah,
The
let
ring
John,
is.
let John go.
I'll just go for lunch.
Should I go into bad stuff that I didn't like?
Yeah.
I'll get
Andre's-
in there before Andre just takes over the show.
Andre goes all Hulk mode. Yeah.
I think it was mostly to do with the length of the movie. I think they probably could have cut. Same with Man of
Yeah,
Steel, like
true.
a good 20, 30 minutes. tighten it up.
45.
Nah.
The movie was
I think 45.
almost like 3
It
hours.
was 2 and a bit, right?
Two and a half.
They're trying to pull a Titanic.
Yes.
Well, they did because it's gonna sink.
It's gonna.
It's gonna make box office. But yeah, just the overall length in the movie, I think that needed to get cut. And then there was some questionable stuff, but most of the stuff I would have issues with is gonna delve into kind of spoiler territory.
Yeah.
But yeah, those scenes that Mike and Will, I guess not being as hardcore comic fans,
Right.
the dark stuff, the dream sequence stuff or whatever it was. Yeah, I think a lot of people, it's just gonna go and they're gonna be like, "What the f was that?" So
Andre.
Right. Yeah. So a couple of things. Like I think just the overall pacing of the movie is just all wrong, and it's just a patchwork of ideas that never really quite come together. The movie was way too long, and it just there isn't enough like explanation to it. Also, I've never hidden that I was a fan of Man of Steel. Like I did enjoy that movie for what it was. I believed the version of Superman that they were showing me. Like I said, yeah, you know what, I see that, I get it. But the characterization in this particular movie on all of the characters is just mind-blowingly off, and there's no reason for it. Like Lex Luthor, like that was, I would have to say, was probably the single worst aspect of the movie for me. It's like I can almost forgive like a lot of the other stuff, but like yeah, he was downright terrible. No motivation, no justification, not anything like the character. To me, it seemed like they're like, hey, people like the Joker. Let's get this fool, give him long hair, and have him act like an ass. Done. And I'm just like, yeah, it wasn't Lex Luthor at all. And again, I get that they changed Superman, but in Man of Steel, we saw his upbringing, so we could kind of believe and relate to that's why he's like that. And we see him overcoming that a little bit in the movie. But this one, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what they were going with Lex Luthor. Yeah, just almost as colossal a screw up in a major villain as Mandarin was for Iron Man. I would say these were on par. I couldn't pick which one's worse because I just
Some
hate
people love
Iron
that
Man
Mandarin.
3. So I don't know, but yeah. So that for me that was it.
I've never once in my life thought I would want a flying dragon with Russell Crowe on it, but this movie needed that bad. So it was one of those ones like, where's Russell Crowe? Why is he not singing? Because I really prefer that right now. But
More
I digress.
Terrell.
So we're at that point where let's talk about whether you would recommend this movie. So let's start from the side down there. Well, would you recommend this to people who are new to comics? Would you recommend it to people who know comics? Where is your recommendation? What is it at this standpoint?
I think I would recommend this movie to little kids who like superheroes.
You recommend that for little kids? Because if I was a little kid, that's ultra violent.
Will, man, you're spreading nightmares now. Man. What's going on?
I don't want to explain to my kid
Like the
the
high school kids who just like a superhero action movie. I think anyone older than that won't like this movie, and younger than that probably shouldn't see this movie.
because I can tell you right now, the kid that was sitting next to me was
Yeah, he wasn't having.
first 15 minutes. He was like, "What's going on?" And then he just kept on moving back and forth. I'm like, "Oh, I guess this is what's gonna happen now for the rest of the movie."
There was actually a young kid next to me.
Disinterested.
Oh, actually, I should just probably. There's a
Yeah,
spoiler part at the end.
we're almost there. Don't worry, John.
I would recommend it, except if you are going in wanting to hate it, because you're gonna find plenty to hate on. Don't get me wrong there, right? But it is gonna lay the groundwork for the upcoming Justice League movie. So even with it, having the controversial reviews or whatever, I think you're still gonna need to catch it and see what they've set up. And yeah, I would say go see it.
Andre.
Do we even have to ask?
We have to ask. Yes.
I think this movie, unfortunately, is the superhero movie that we got. I think it's a superhero movie that we've unconsciously demanded by, liking stuff like Suicide Squad, wanting darker looking heroes, loving Deadpool, and wanting to see our superheroes fight for no reason, a la Age of Ultron. They're trying to make a blockbuster instead of make a good movie. So I think if you want to sit back, eat some popcorn, kill 3 hours, go see this movie.
You could show up late and cut like a good 10 minutes.
You could, and you wouldn't miss anything, really. I guess I would, because people are going to want to go see it. They're going to want to go see what it's about. And I think if you just want that literally mindless, plotless.
Okay.
Ooh, all right. We're gonna cut you off.
All right.
Yeah. Recommendations.
Actually, surprisingly, I would recommend people go see this movie because mostly if you like comic books, you like the characters, you're gonna be curious. And regardless what the reviews were of this movie, I would have gone to see it because I like Batman and Superman, and I want to be able to know
Make
it
fun
for
of
myself.
it.
And I like to have my own opinion, and I'm not gonna take somebody else's word and be like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea," and fire it up. So I definitely recommend you go see it and get your own opinion. Don't just listen to us, but for sure, definitely see it.
That's our reading rainbow moment. All right. So
Just gonna put the graphic right here.
before we jump straight
I don't
to
know.
our spoilers, we just want to talk about where you can find the two guys right here. So let's talk a little bit about Heroes World, and we'll jump straight to spoilers.
Andre's going? No, I'm going. Okay, I'm representing Heroes World on the Instagram right now. JHO.heroesworld on Instagram. You can go to Facebook as well. Facebook/HW Comic Shop.
And you can find them at Heroes World Online.
Yep, that's
as
our
well,
website,
the website. So there'll be YouTube clips and videos going forward. So look
and
for,
also our new YouTube channel, which is Heroes World Online. So that's where you're going to find
should be
this.
watching right now.
Yeah.
and you can go to their store, which is located
the store.
at.
Yes, we have a brick and mortar physical store. You can come in and have this conversation with us if you like the movie or not. Talk comics, talk shop, talk card games, a whole bunch of stuff. We are in Markham, Highway 7, and Warden.
Yep, board games, video games, card games, they got it all.
Comic
So,
books, Warhammer.
Yeah, comic Warhammer. All right, so let's get to the fun part because I know you all been dying to talk about spoilers, and so we're gonna just
Spoilers.
So if you haven't seen the movie, I don't know why you're watching this, but let's continue on. So it's a free for all. Let's go. What?
You want all these kids to watch these dudes get straight up murdered?
Let's go back. Yeah, because the little kid next to me was freaking out. The father was like holding.
The kid next to me was probably like 15.
No, the kid next to me was like
15 is not
8.
kid.
Yeah.
The little teeny kid next to me, and the father just threw a blanket over their head, like the jacket, and like, "Don't worry about it. 10 minutes from now." I'm like, "What?"
It was actually his birthday. So that's his birthday present to go see this movie.
Yeah.
It was
Wow,
actually pretty
it
horrible.
was a good Friday for him.
Yeah. I heard him lean
they
over and
probably
he's like,
liked
did
it.
Superman really die?
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about that quickly. So in this movie, Superman, quote unquote, dies.
is dead, sort of.
Are
Twice.
we
two funerals?
Well, he does.
The Superman funeral
and
and
then
the
there's
Clark Kent.
double up,
yeah.
yeah.
But why
Dub-
would they even do that?
Because
Well-
the world doesn't know he's
Yeah.
Clark Kent.
But so they do it at the same time, so everybody knows now.
No, because
A lot of people.
Everybody,
Obviously, a lot of people died.
Well, you know what? That's a really good point, though, because Lois isn't showing up at Superman's wedding,
Yeah.
and she's kissing this dude like at every chance given, and someone must have seen that. You'd think to kind of keep his
Yeah.
identity safe, she would have just went to that one
Honest-
instead
in
of
the
being.
Well, I
paper,
think that's why
it
she
was
was,
like
like, hidden in
Superman
the room.
dies, and then
Yeah.
they flipped in, and on the cover there, it was like Clark Kent dies.
Honestly,
It was on the, but I guess it was.
I think they watched the trailer for Civil War and it's like only 300 people died in New York City. We can triple that in one movie in the Wayne Tower alone. Let's kill everyone. So it was a very different combination. So let's talk about their attempt at Doomsday. Do we? I know we are.
Oh, I got to interrupt. This is about Doomsday. But,
Yeah.
But like, why the shit it got to be Luthor to create him, and how did Luthor's blood help create Doomsday as a Kryptonian defect? This ship was supposed to be their life ship that has all Kryptonian DNA. Hey, Kryptonians, let's put our defective DNA in this thing too. Sure, we're gonna need that sometime. What the?
You got to
My
archive,
God,
man.
man,
You got,
that was just like nonsense.
they're just like us, Pokemon. Got to catch them all. You got to have all of it on
All
your
the DNA,
raft.
yeah,
You just can't pick
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that
You
was
have to have Snorlax. He's
Yeah.
terrible. But you gotta have him.
terrible plot action there. It was ridiculous.
How did Doomsday get created in the comics?
In the comics, he's got a really cool origin in that he wears
a green jumper for a while.
Oh well, that was
He was created to kill Superman, right?
no. He was created. He was a Kryptonian weapon, and they built him to fight like anything. So as they
Okay.
genetically bred him, they would genetically make him fight something, and it would kill him.
Okay.
And then they put that DNA into him. So he just like think of thousands of iterations of him, being kind of like reborn, but now
Right.
he knows what killed him, so he can fight better.
Right.
And this happened constantly, so that's why he hated Kryptonians. He wasn't built to fight
Right,
Superman.
right.
He just, after generations of being bred to die, to fight, when he finally gets released, he's like, there's a Kryptonian on this planet, I'm gonna kill this guy because this has been the basically made its life living hell. Right. And the jumpsuit was because it was kind of like a containment suit. And yeah, that was part of the Panic in the Sky story that told how he came down to Earth, and it was a weapon that Brainiac unleashed on Earth.
So was he menacing enough for you guys? At Doomsday, was it someone you're
he
like,
felt
oh,
like
this?
an orc from Lord of the Rings. That's what
That's
I thought of when I
it
first saw
reminded
him.
me
I
of
was
that
like,
too.
okay.
He was humongous, yeah, because when he threw his fist out, Superman was like,
Yeah.
But when he was getting
like he's humongous.
born,
Yeah,
it looked a lot like an
Yeah.
orc from Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings.
I did
yeah, with the nose.
Yeah.
I did like how
He's
he
like
looked.
the
Like I
Sauron.
liked that.
As he evolved, the
As he
bones
evolved,
showed
the
up.
bones came
That
out,
was
and
pretty
I
cool.
thought, yeah, this is kind of like the comic
he, like,
book
lost his
version.
hand and then it
Lo-
grows
yeah, and then
back
it
and
grows out
everything.
because he witnessed
And
Wonder
gets really
Woman's
bony.
weapon. Yeah, so I thought he visually was cool. I didn't like the EMP pulse or whatever that came out of him and kind of like decimated the island or whatever. But I think visually he was it was kind of cool. Maybe not 100% the look I would have gone for doing that.
And again, we talked about it before about other comic book movies. Is that their villains are so one-dimensional. You have Lex Luthor, you have Doomsday, both very boring. Both
Yeah.
you don't know their motives. Both, all right. At least with some other movies, and really Marvel's not done a good job either because if you look at their villains, they're just as useless.
Ultron.
Malachi, like just awful.
Oh.
But then you look at Loki, and there's a guy that actually has something going on.
Yeah.
So looking at DC and learning at that, you kind of look at a missed opportunity because you touched upon Lex Luthor not having motivation, and it seemed very weird. This movie, he seemed, we talked about before. I feel like I'm spoiled because watching the animated show with Clancy Brown, that cadence,
Yeah.
it looked like every move everything he was doing had a purpose. And this Lex Luthor just seemed whimsical. Like he just felt like just having fun.
He was just like a.
Yeah.
It was like a. I don't even know. Like he was kind of like just.
Did he watch too many Jim
funny.
Carrey,
Yeah,
like the Riddler?
know.
Like,
yeah, and it kind of seemed schizophrenic or something. Like he's giving that speech and he couldn't finish his speech and stuff like that. And I'm like, again, I don't understand like what reference material, what comic book or source material that these guys read that or watch that says that I want to portray Lex Luthor this way. And I think that's one of my things that make me most upset is that I understand they have to reimagine a character sometime. But for heaven's sake, look at the source material and pull from that. Like in Smallville, we had two great Lex Luthors. We had the Luthor's father, and we had
Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, Michael Rosenbaum, and it worked. You know, I wasn't happy that there was a father Luthor there, but I got it, and it worked in its context. The animated series gave us the best version of Lex Luthor. The comic books, Luthor is a serious threat, and I believe that he has a reason to hate Superman. Like Lex Luthor is the embodiment of the pinnacle of man as he sees it. He's smart. He's like a genius. He's come from nothing, and he's a self-made billionaire. He was the man of Metropolis, the man of the city of tomorrow, until Superman comes. So you could see why he would hate Superman. In this, I have no idea what this kid's hate on for Superman was. And if it was just because of the Metropolis incident, it's like you can hardly blame Superman for General Zod coming and wrecking shit.
But it was almost like he didn't even hate Superman. He hated both of them. He just wanted them to fight. It was just like the reason of the movie.
Yeah.
Right?
it seems more like Arcade would do rather than
Yes, Arcade from the X-Men. Yeah, 100%.
He's like, let's just put them all in the
and they
thing.
look the same. They could just call him Arcade, man, with the red hair, and he wore a white suit. Holy smokes, we figured it out. The guy watched or read X-Men, and he's like, I'm gonna play Lex Luthor like
because
Arcade.
he polka dot shirts and all that stuff. Yeah, I was like, that makes sense.
There we
I was
go.
like, Arcade.
I don't think they had enough time. They just had too many characters.
What are you talking about?
Then
Flip
don't
through a
put
bunch
him
of
in,
pages
bro.
of my comic
Enough
books.
time. Whoa.
They had like a year and a bit. This movie was filmed in like 2014. It was done a long time ago.
knew-
I didn't mind them as bad. I thought from the trailers, like I wasn't gonna like them, but I didn't mind them. But yeah, definitely there's lack of motivation for the villain. But every movie, like almost every movie, does that. Like they're just a villain doing evil for evil's sake. Very few movies actually explore, give the villain their due.
So I'm
I
gonna
disagree, but well
It's a
said.
rare occasion, right?
I'm gonna touch the guys in the corner again. So with the weird way they tried to integrate the Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman, what did you think about that? Because it was unique, I can say. So what are your
You don't
thoughts
have to be
on
positive
This is
here.
like
We're past the spoiler
A
part.
random flash of these symbols on his computer.
It was
I
nice
don't
of
know,
Lex
it
to
was so-
design all those logos.
I mean,
for
it was
them.
cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was cool to see the integration, but it was out of place. It was like, okay, well, like this doesn't make any sense. How does he have all this information? They've packed in too much stuff.
it's the era of information. So if you think of him as a Zuckerberg that has access to Facebook, there are view cameras everywhere. So you could probably theory just by looking at people, because he had ATM footage
Yeah.
of Diana. So yeah, Will, what are your thoughts then on
I think it was like when I saw the trailers for the movie and when I first saw Wonder Woman, that's when I thought it's like, whoa, they're doing way too much in this movie. I think they could have just kept it Batman, Superman, and like a good Lex Luthor, and that in its own could have been a smaller, more well done, more polished movie than
Stronger
what we have now.
storyline.
Yeah, like a more solid arc. Instead of just throwing like all this stuff just to build Justice League into next year or whenever they're planning to do it, but like they're just trying to speed through everything than just cramming everything into this movie. And it was hardly Batman versus Superman. It was just a shit show.
But didn't you feel really good in the cockles of your heart when you saw Aquaman for that 30 seconds where he was like, look at these tattoos
And my flowing hair in the water.
You know,
And why did my eyes glow at the beginning?
Because the three of us, we know some stuff, I would say, but for someone who's not entrenched in DC lore,
like I didn't know the guy coming through the portal was Flash. I didn't know who that was. What
It was
he
a
was
little
talking
bit hard to like. It was like
I thought it was Red Hood. I was like, that's the first thing I thought of with all the red.
And I guess because Batman's in it, it's a safe assumption, right?
Yeah, I thought he looked like Ant-Man.
The first crossover movie. Dum, dum, dum.
yeah,
Who the hell are you?
I'm in the wrong movie.
because I think the TV show has given us definitive costume look of the Flash, both TV
Right.
shows. What are Andre, and John? What are your thoughts of that brief, light costume of the Speed Force Flash? Because it looked.
It's kind of funny because when I first saw that, I was thinking of remember that comic Total Justice? They had a toy line, and it reminded me of that. It looked like Flash in like some type of body armor and stuff like that, and I was just like, I guess they're trying to sell an action figure or whatever. But it just looked it wasn't iconic enough. It didn't like it doesn't scream Flash to you at first until you kind of know a little bit of the history of the Flash and that he can, sometimes cross worlds and time, and so that's why I knew what it was.
Yeah, like because when me and Justin's not here, saw it, we thought like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like that's Flash probably on the cosmic treadmill, trying to warn Batman what's going on. So that I think that cameo actually made sense. The Aquaman was kind of a throwaway. They were just like, hey, Jimmy, what's his name again?
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, I guess he showed up to set that day, and they're like, hey, put on the costume.
And jump in the pool.
Stand over there.
Yeah. Here's a pitchfork. We'll see.
And he was probably holding the pitchfork going, what do I do? And they're like, no, you're doing it. It's good. It's good. We're gonna CG your trident like spearing what is it? Like a scuba diver with a camera? Did you murder them? Or,
I don't know. I think it was a drone. I think it was a drone.
Yeah, because it had the little cliff crampers. Or
It was basically what you're missing is it was actually James Cameron on the other side of it. He was like,
he was like scouting for Titanic.
Yeah.
And the paper the next day is like Titanic drone gets demolished.
James Cameron's like, I got a movie idea.
Cameron loses like $20 billion on this technology. The Cyborg cameo I thought was pretty cool. You guys think that was like you guys probably don't know what the hell the mother box is, but I guess that cube is like a mother box, which is a dark. I guess the big tease is
the boom tube,
whole dark seed, and then like the Batman dream sequence was like a big Omega symbol.
Mm-hmm.
When he was murdering those guys in the desert.
Yeah.
Pew pew pew. Yes.
Yeah. And then the parademons were those flying bird things, right? So it's all.
But the weird thing is, in that scene, the soldiers that he was shooting, they had the Superman symbol, I think, on his arm, and the parademons were working with them. So is that implying that Superman's going to work with Darkseid?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Maybe
he's a resurrected.
Because I know you touched upon it before about that weird dream sequence about.
I don't understand why they would put that in there and not give some sort of explanation.
No.
At all.
Because they figured out that people don't need explanations. We all watched Age of Ultron, and there was dream sequences in that, and that shit didn't make any sense.
Wait,
so that's why I'm telling you, this is the movie that we deserve because so many people flocked to that event. That movie was great. That movie made no goddamn sense.
But then if
either.
people don't need explanations, why would they retell the damn dying of Bruce's parents over and over?
Because we're forgetful.
That's why you can skip the first 10 minutes of the movie if you already know how Batman's parents died.
Well, you're missing the comedian die again. That's why we got to be in this movie.
We got to tell this part because, like, at the beginning, the first intro of that movie, like, you see young Bruce Wayne and he runs and he
couldn't
falls
they cast the guy that's in Gotham?
That would have been cool.
That would have been full circle.
Full circle. And he falls into the pit and he sees bats. And then the bats start flying around him and creating a vortex. And he starts flying up the fallen well. And at that point, I almost got out of the movie. I almost got up. I'm like, this is
Batman's
nonsense.
flying?
I'm like, Batman's flying. They're now going to say Batman can commune with bats and they can create a cycle and fly. And then there's the voiceover in the dreams. The bats uplift me to the light. And I'm like, okay, it was a dream sequence. Calm down, Andre. You watch the movie.
Hey, man.
But oh my God, 5 minutes in, I was already out.
Yeah. It worked for Paul Rudd with ants. Maybe Batman can like telekinetically communicate with bats.
That's why he's
Then
Batman.
he had the little thing, right?
Yeah.
The little ear thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was really hoping that Michael Douglas would show up then and be like, let's figure this out.
He could have been Paul Wayne. Oh man. Yeah.
No, there were a lot of fun moments, a lot of not so fun moments in that movie. But yeah, a lot of people. I was shaking my head that sequence as well. So it was rough.
What about the Kevin Costner appearance?
No,
I
but
thought that was really
but before we
weird.
jump to that,
Yeah.
I felt that apocalypse moment was
Apocalypse.
like the not
Dark
Apocalypse,
side, man. Dark
Ooh.
side. Yeah. See?
Dark side
Age of
moment.
Apocalypse
Yeah.
coming through.
Dark side
Creates an
moment.
apocalyptic
Yeah.
setting.
The apocalyptic setting with Darkseid
Yeah.
was, I think, what the Flash was trying to warn him about, saying that this is the future that's happening. Thus, just like a la My Hero, Booster Gold coming back and saying Superman and Wonder Woman can't be together. You got to stop this. That was their interpretation. So I think it's a potential 52 universe situation where this is going to happen. The Flash coming back to tell Batman, you got to stop this from happening.
See,
So then this is maybe the Justice League movie will tie back to it to say
I think it definitely will, but I think how cool would it have been if, like, we see Bruce Wayne and he's haunted by these visions over and over, and each vision gets a little bit longer than the previous one to culminate into what we saw, and then he realizes that he finally gets full view of that Flash, so that when he steals Luthor's file and he sees the Flash, he puts two and two together and goes, maybe this is a warning that Superman's going bad, and that would be justification for him to attack Superman. But it basically just was a one-time vision. It's like he had his dreams about him and the bats, but it should have been that this was a message, and he's a detective. He should have figured it out. Like
another movie that wasted Batman by saying he's not a detective.
So it was just
You know who's happy about this movie? Elongated Man, because he's like, I am the greatest detective. I am the greatest detective. That's it. Forget everyone else. And the question's like, yeah, what about me? I'm moving up the rankings. Yeah, I forgot my point. So no, damn it.
None of the Batman's movies have hit on him being the greatest.
I think it has to be a different type of
and
movie that maybe just is not going to make them.
He's
money.
always steps ahead of everybody,
Yeah,
but they never really demonstrate
Yes.
that the way that it should be demonstrated, right?
I think that's something that could be demonstrated in like a TV show, like the animated series from back in the day. Yeah, you definitely know Batman is a detective, but for movies nowadays, like what was the last good kind of like detective, like noir gumshoe type?
But it doesn't
movie
have to be. You
watch,
just
right?
have to show. You have to show that the character is thinking
He's
and,
aware,
and,
right.
and, and moving
I don't think there's
from
time to show it.
Yeah.
No, I
in
think
this
there
type
is.
Of movie. This type of
well,
movie felt
no,
like
but they
it was.
We're
We're setting
to.
up Justice League.
But we had three.
We got to
Batman.
do it. We got to
Yeah.
do it last year.
Yeah.
We got to get this on the ground.
And let's talk.
We got all these cast members in. We got to get this movie rolling. So imagine if the Justice League movie is like over the top, apocalypse, dark side, like world,
gosh.
like ridiculousness, right? Like that could work. I think.
Yeah.
And-
For instance, the fight scene with Batman and Superman, the only thing that
You
really
mean
put him
Robo
ahead
Batman,
was the little kryptonite bombs or something, like
The gas.
luck.
Yeah.
Not really being steps ahead of Superman.
Yep.
Like he should be.
No, he was ready at
Right.
first.
Well, yeah.
and then he decided to chit chat instead of reloading.
But then he got into a
Yeah.
box. He just got into a box.
Yeah,
right?
why wouldn't he have loaded that gun a second and third time
Yeah.
and pumped it in so that the glass
So,
pallet stays?
yeah.
But then
I
instead
guess
he
we
started.
would have no movie because he would have murdered.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
But that's what his point was, right? His
Yeah.
point was he was going to kill.
I don't know if
Yeah.
he knew he was going to kill
He had
Superman.
the spear.
Yeah, that's like
should have
that's
his
it.
name.
I guess
You have
technically
destiny.
he did plan because he did set the spear at the bottom. And then
Yeah.
he did set up the guns. So I guess maybe he thought he would somehow fight in there. But that was his goal. So he should have just used all the kryptonite at his disposal.
Frankly, you should be going back to read the comic book where Batman and Nightwing fight Amazo, and just how Dick just gushes about the tedious planning that Bruce does in order to fight any opponent. Really, honestly, like Robert Downey Jr. in Sherlock Holmes, that type of thought process is the exact same as Batman. If I do this, I do this.
Yeah.
And just how he plans and how he puts everything together as to how he defeats his villains. We've never got that from a Batman movie.
That's true.
The thing about the meticulous planning he does, he thinks about everything, and he has prepared, and he has his bat belt actually has things that will help him rather than just constant smoke bombs. Like, I get it. If you're a ninja, smoke bomb. But there's got to be something else to it.
He had he had also.
And think about this. We talked about Avengers,
the Batarang.
Age of Ultron. There's a scene, if you think about it, where Robert Downey Jr. touches that spear and he has a vision of the future, and all his friends are dead on the ground. Can we at least get Jason Momoa on the ground, like lying there with his eyes closed? Like, would it be that difficult? Like Henry Cavill to lie on the ground, like a vision of the future of his friends dying. Maybe they could have done that with the Justice League as well, instead of just arbitrarily, this is the future, they're gonna blah 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 blah. Like, there was no payoff to it.
Yeah, and I think back to this thing with Batman and his gadgets. I'm like, okay.
So he had to keep the brander in his belt too.
Yeah, he had to keep a brander that he lit up.
It had to be heated up.
Yeah,
like,
which was ridiculous.
It's always preheated.
It was like a car cigarette lighter.
Yeah, it's a cigarette. Yeah.
He just presses it in his belt, and then it pops up when it's ready. He goes, It's branded.
And but what about like he shoots the bat tracking device on the back of the 18-wheeler,
Yeah.
and it's like ginormous, and then he proceeds to
And it has
drive
a
his
blinking LED.
proceeds to drive the Batmobile
Yeah.
through it, and it doesn't get knocked off. I'm like, wouldn't Batman have something that's
He
like
calculated
super
that.
tiny?
He's like, I'm gonna shear off this angle,
And
so
then-
this tracker's got to go.
And
like,
then what
It's all
about
part of
the,
the plan.
what
Yeah.
about the device that he hooks up to Lex Luthor's house? It's this ginormous packing box.
Yeah.
Anybody who walked by would have seen it. I'm like, again, why can't he have something
He
like
watched-
where was Morgan Freeman to make a smaller device?
Alfred was making all that shit
Yeah,
on his
Yeah.
and
own.
Alfred is
trying to tune that
oh my
stuff.
And his
god.
best excuse is like, oh, I was looking for the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah, clearly.
Maybe if you weren't too busy changing the voice changer, you could do something else. What was that? He's like, I'm too worried about the changing. He's like,
Yeah.
Mamma me mamo. I'm like, really? You're working on the voice changer?
Alfred the engineer.
Like, honestly, he's watching Spy.
Alfred was like Harold. Sorry to cut you off. Harold.
No.
Remember that guy who used to make all the Batman stuff in the comics?
Yeah,
Oh my God,
he basically
hilarious.
watched Skyfall and he's like, oh, James Bond had this giant transformer that basically tracks, so I'm just gonna make the exact same thing. It was not good.
Yeah.
Alfred built everything. The Batmobile, everything.
In this movie,
that
he
movie,
did.
yeah.
He was
Man, you guys
he was a
think- you guys
mechanic,
like
him?
an
He can make the
engineer.
plane.
Yeah.
He flew the plane. Did everything.
He's
Seriously.
like, oh, I'll take over the plane, no big deal.
Yeah. Drone mode. Yeah.
Batman's like, I fly that every day. How do you even know to do that?
He's ex-military. He's MI6, MI5, all rolled in one. So he can do it all. So I don't know, man. I think that there was. I think we talked about it too well before. Catching up. So do you feel that really this movie suffered from just them trying to catch up to Marvel?
Absolutely.
Definitely. Like, look at the amount of time the Marvel movie universe has taken just for the Infinity Gauntlet. Like,
And how many
they-
mistakes they made with movies that they
Yeah.
had to recover from,
Yeah,
right?
they're like a decade in, and they still haven't really gone full Infinity Gauntlet yet.
Yeah, because I think they don't really know what the hell they're doing anyways. They're like, let's make this string an infinity gem, but we digress.
But
Eye on the prize,
instead
Andre.
of-
Eye on the prize.
Wrong podcast.
Yeah.
But I think instead of stretching it out and explaining in depth into like specific things, they're just smashing as much things as they can, all in one movie, which is why it was so long and so convoluted. It was hard to know what was going on, why people were doing what they were doing. You don't care about like the motives of anybody. You don't care about
What motives?
Yeah, exactly. They didn't exist.
Yeah, they didn't exist. Yeah.
They didn't do enough explaining. There wasn't enough backstory of anything really. It was just too much.
Injustice.
Well, they're gonna do it because you're gonna
I
get
think they had to. They have to get.
you're
it
gonna
on
get
track.
your Wonder Woman movie. It's
I
gonna
don't think they
happen.
can
You
do
just
a solo
should've.
movie for.
they're gonna pull. This is Tokyo Drift. If you think about it, this is Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. They're gonna just do this movie and then
Then they'll go back.
you just watch
Yeah.
Wonder Woman before this
Yeah.
movie and watch Cyborg before this movie, and then canonically this will take place before.
Like I would have preferred if they had like a small Wonder Woman cameo, and then they do a Wonder Woman movie.
But I think it was kind
She
of
was a cameo.
because I
It
think
was more than a cameo.
you're right, but I think she still didn't like. She didn't
Do anything.
Do
She was in the
much.
whole movie. She stole the
Wait,
Batman's
she-
fucking
yeah.
gigantic
Well,
dog.
yeah,
look,
no,
what
but-
did she do? She
but
looked really good in dresses.
Yes, definitely.
She looked
Gal
awesome.
Gadot is hot.
She knows how to wear expensive things. She got on a plane. She got out of a car. Like that's a bona fide cameo.
Yeah.
Like you're not really doing.
But I
anything.
will say this though: the scene where she saves Batman and going against Doomsday, and she does the bracelets. Epic. It was like I think that was the best scene, and then she gets the sword out and charges Doomsday, and I'm like, hell yeah.
She had the
She
la-
did the
the
most
lasso
damage to
action.
him.
Yeah, and the lasso
Yeah.
came out. Like honestly,
I think
that was amazing. Like I think the best thing that's going to come out of this movie is that, wow, she's Wonder Woman. She had me believing she was Wonder Woman. Looked great as Diana Prince, and I'm thinking if they got it right in this movie, hopefully they can continue in her own solo adventure. Because hell, I'd even watch that movie from the picture we saw. Could you imagine her in World War I? even if it's her mom, if even she plays Hippolyta and it's her
Her and
mom,
Captain Kirk
I'm just
doing
like,
it, baby.
Hell yeah, man, I'm all over that.
Chris Pine. No, I think the moment that I enjoyed the most of the whole movie is when she gets knocked down and she starts grinning.
Yeah,
She uses
she's
sword,
this
just
is
like,
awesome.
this is
Like,
the best.
this is
I-
finally a
She's-
fight. Yeah,
She's like, but I think that was a mission for all women. As you know, finally we get a strong
Yeah, we
female
get a-
character, and I get knocked down, and I'm gonna get up and kick some
yeah,
ass.
and she was the one that took it to Doomsday. She cut off his hand. She first
Yeah.
hit his Achilles and stuff like that. She was the warrior. She was the Amazon princess, armed. It was It was.
But
it
I
was
don't think.
fantastic.
But with all that being said, I don't think she could have had a movie before this movie.
No, I
Like,
think she
I don't
needed
think it
this
would've-
as a springboard.
Yeah,
You're
I don't think
absolutely right.
They wouldn't have greenlit
That's true.
a Wonder Woman movie.
They have been trying for
and
years,
I don't think
and
they'll
they never did.
greenlit a Flash movie, greenlight,
Yeah.
Flash movie or a Cyborg movie.
well,
or
we never
a-
thought
a
Guardians of the
Aquaman
Galaxy would happen
movie
either.
That was kind of like an oddity. Yeah, definitely Guardians of the Galaxy did surprise us, but like Wonder Woman has been in like I want to say movie like hell for the longest
Purgatory.
time. Like I think it even had Josh Whedon's name attached to it, like all
Yep.
kinds of stuff, and it just never happened. So I don't I guess I'm the only one that really kind of like semi dug this movie. Like I would probably say maybe like a 6.8 out of 10 or something like that.
So here's the question to you
Um,
guys then: for the comic book landscape, after watching this movie, does it help the cause for comic book movies? Does it hurt the cause of comic book movies? What do you guys think?
I think somebody with zero knowledge could get something out of this movie.
Popcorn.
Yeah, popcorn and a soda.
I think it's still fun.
And the warmth of the
Yeah.
theater. Damn, it was warm in that theater.
yeah! Wow.
There's so much confusion. That's the biggest thing, and it may be good for the comic book industry because they'll be
Sure.
like, who's this person? Who's this person? Google it. Maybe head out to the comic book shop and start reading into some characters. But that's sad when you have to go back to look up stuff that happened in a movie, and there's not even a little bit or an ounce of fucking.
Yeah, I really
explanation.
think they got screwed, like Green Lantern
Yeah.
and that type of stuff, and they're just way behind Marvel.
Right.
They didn't have the luxury of being like Marvel and building these slow movies up to this. So
Right.
them throwing this out, it was probably originally just a Superman 2 movie, and then they started bringing in all these extra cast guys, and they're like,
But they
okay,
said
you know
they're
what,
gonna do a
we're
Man of
we're
Steel
gonna
2.
we're gonna Superman 2 was probably supposed to be Doomsday, Superman Death of, so they were like, oh, we'll just shove that at the end of the movie, and then we'll get Batman, Wonder Woman, all these other people's screen time, get them launch board, get them into like people's minds, and then we're gonna kick off our universe. Like Ben Affleck's already in talks of doing 3 movies or something,
Yeah.
and 2 Justice League movies. And I heard the Justice League movies are titled Part 1 and Part 2. or
Yes,
something
that's
like
correct.
that.
Yes.
And then Wonder Woman is gonna have her movie. Like, so I think they.
Well, there's a
lot of
Flash
people are gonna
movie.
say-
There's a
give that
Cyborg
criticism
movie.
that this was fast tracked. This was too fast, but I don't think DC could have done it any other way. They needed to get points on the board. Right?
In a way, like
They
wanna
I
catch
see
up.
your point, but I think that again it goes back to me saying that they need to make a good movie. Like and I think this goes for all the superhero movies. There's enough superhero movies now that they don't work as a genre anymore. We need them to be actually good movies. They need to be either an adventure movie, an action movie, an espionage movie. Marvel's hit a couple of them, right?
So summer
Winter Soldier.
blockbusters
But
should not
here-
be like a genre.
No,
right?
no, yeah,
Like,
exactly. But what if this movie was good? Like, one of my ideas for once I heard that it was Batman versus Superman and Wonder Woman was going to be a big part of it, I thought, why wouldn't you just call it, or just do Batman or Superman versus Wonder Woman? You have some type of threat that's going to bring the two of them together, and you do the same type of flashback where they showed Metropolis, but Bruce Wayne was there. I would have done it where you have that world-altering device. It's hitting the ocean, and you do that flashback, and you're out in the middle of the ocean, and there's this huge tidal wave, and it hits Paradise Island, and all of a sudden, their protection shield drops. The island is now visible. It's on radar, and you see Wonder Woman step up, and she talks to her mom, and she says, "We can't stay hidden anymore. Look what's come to the world of man." And then you could see that they've got high technology, and you see a screen, and they're watching Superman do what he does. And then her mother says, "Okay, go to the world of man again. You must return." So then she could go investigate Superman, of course.
She's going to the ATM to get cash.
That's
Buy
true.
those nice outfits.
Nice
Here-
outfits, right?
yeah, no,
Back
here's
to
the
island.
Here's the thing. They talk about the world being affected, but really, you only saw what? Mexico.
Yeah.
You saw United States, really, and Russia because he picked up a jet there. But really, it's not a world they really have. Like, show me some love. Give me a screenshot of Gorilla City. Give me something.
Yeah.
Give me something. Show China. Show Korea. Show Australia. Give me something outside of that continent, because frankly, to make the Superman like, oh, global world, he can kill everyone in the world. You didn't feel like he could kill anyone because it never left North America. Here's the thing. When I looked at my DC map back in the day, isn't Metropolis supposed to be in like Kansas? Like, is it supposed to be in like a middle western like state? And Gotham's supposed to be in New York. So how would they even see each other in that distance?
they are definitely in the comics not geographically connected or that close. Like, that would be ridiculous that Superman could just hop over and stop all the crime in Gotham. Right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Oh, there's this Joker guy who hijacked the
see
boat.
him here
Superman just picks up the boat and leaves.
Yeah, so that
was kind of weird. And didn't Bruce Wayne in the movie just drive to
Yeah,
Metropolis?
he's like, oh, I gotta go get that spear.
And he drove an old school car too.
Yeah.
And not the most reliable
And-
car. He drove it from the farmlands all the way to.
There was a
that
lot-
a good car though.
lot of continuity problems. Like we talked before off camera, but the fact that the movie that was playing when Bruce's parents died was Excalibur.
And not Zorro.
No, so unless in 1981, I think that's when the plaque said that Zorro didn't come out. Then they're trying to be current to the movies that came out during that period. Because maybe Excalibur did come out in 1981.
Who cares? It should have been that the history of the characters. That's the movie.
Well, it could have been The Great Ghost.
Could have been. Yeah, they could have paid homage to the animated.
So do you feel, guys, that after watching this movie, because of the source material, because these guys are gods among us, because it's so heavy, that's one of the reasons why this movie did not succeed, because the characters are so inhuman. When you're watching a Marvel movie, at times, these guys seem very relatable. There's a little bit of humor. They're usually a dude in a suit. Superman,
That's what
Wonder
Batman
Woman.
is. Batman's like the most relatable guy.
Yeah, but we're talking about Superman and Wonder Woman, right? And Flash. These people are, could destroy anyone in the Marvel Universe by themselves.
Yeah, except for Hulk.
Yeah, but Hulk lost to Superman.
He's gonna start a whole new podcast.
Yeah,
It's like there's gonna be a window up here. He goes, go alternate Hulk versus
v
blah blah
Superman.
blah.
That'd be a good
but
movie.
the source
Yeah.
material is very dark. Do you think that makes it difficult for people to adapt it? Then
I don't think so. I think as long as you set up the guidelines for the universe and tell stories within that universe, you're fine. Like the Dark Knight trilogy, the first two, we did get some motivation of the character. We did see a Bruce Wayne that was, evolved from that character where he wanted to just kill the person that killed his parents. And, he had the discussions with his childhood love, and he couldn't, he couldn't reconcile, and he put himself on the mission. So I think we have character building moments within something that's dark. Man of Steel, while it was darker, we had some great moments. I felt with Jonathan Kent and Clark, and I really like Diane Lane as Martha Kent, and I think that, again, there were some moments within that movie. In this movie, I don't think we had many moments like that. I think they just failed to
the
put
whole
character.
Superman, like he was struggling with the kind of like he's just trying to help, and they're kind of receiving him as like when he saves that girl from the fire, and all the people start like touching him and worshiping him and stuff. I thought that was like a cool.
That was a cool scene.
element.
Yeah, it was a
and,
cool
he-
scene.
and he's just kind of looking, going like, "What do I do? Like, I didn't mean for people to think I'm a god."
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. He
I'm
never
just
asked
trying
for
to do
it.
the right thing,
Yeah,
right?
he never
So
asked for
I
it.
thought-
But I think
I
that
thought that was cool. They probably should have explored that more.
they should have. And I
well,
think
there was
that's-
already so much to religion in that
No,
movie
but-
already, so you gotta
But
tone
that
it
was-
down. It was
that
so much.
That was one of the things that was in the first trailer. We really had that feeling that it was going to be that people were worshiping Superman more, and they should have touched on it. There should have been at that moment, like in Man of Steel, where he goes to the priest. Should have went to maybe that same priest and said, "Hey, I'm just doing what I believe is right and good and just, and people are worshiping me." And maybe that he could have gone to his mother or somebody, but he just never kind of reacted to that. I do think one of the touching moments in this film was Lois trying to explain that she doesn't think she can be with him and Superman because he will always put her first. And I think that was probably the only underlining theme of this movie. But I did like the scene where he just climbs into the bathtub with her, because I felt at that point he's human. here's a man that loves this woman and he's going to do something. He's just going to
Not sanitary because those shoes were outdoors.
Yes, well, he just
Jumping in the pool.
I'm
climbs
thinking,
in.
who has a bathtub in like the middle of the room like this anymore?
Yeah,
What kind of apartment is that?
It's like an old school apartment.
But
right?
even
So-
even the other portion of it was
Yeah.
when Batman was waking up with the woman. I'm like,
Yeah.
don't you work at night? How are you with the girl?
But I think
How
who
about
was
after
that?
Batman saved Martha Kent and they were like, yo.
It's like it's the cave. So
Batman, the man.
Batman, macking on Markham.
Yeah.
So before we finish this video cast, let's talk briefly about the future. So Justice League is going to be upon us soon. Best case scenario, what do you hope to see?
Best case scenario.
Let's start with Will.
Oh boy. Do you know when it's coming out? Is there a date?
2 years from now, I think.
2 years?
Yeah.
And I guess
They're going to bang out
Superman's-
Wonder Woman before, right?
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
and another Batman?
and
or-
Superman's gonna come back before then.
Man of Steel 2 is supposed
yeah.
to be. Yeah,
Is he supposed
They're
to
gonna
wake
pump out
back
another
up?
Batman.
I heard
Before
Affleck.
that? So
nonetheless-
I heard Affleck was signed to do a solo
Yeah.
Batman movie.
Really?
He might act and direct as well.
Oh God.
Right? Direct and act in it, yes. So your vision of this DC cinematic universe. What's the best case scenario? What do you hope to see?
Well, going off of where we're starting at from now,
Anything is up?
it doesn't look great. Like I don't know what they can do. I mean, I don't know a ton about the whole Justice League universe,
Mhm.
just from like cartoons from a long time ago. But it seems like it's really just too convoluted. Like an Avengers movie is hard to pull off just because there's so many moving parts. So same problem with the Justice League movie, but it just seems like these guys don't know what they're doing as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I don't know. It's going to be really tough for me.
What are your thoughts on the future? What do you hope? What are your dreams?
Just to see everything come together, honestly, properly. Like, where's Green Lantern?
He's busy.
I-
He's wearing a red costume right now. He's wearing a red costume.
Yeah, but
making a
they're
lot
gonna
of
need
money.
to tell that
Lantern
story
is
again.
Deadpool.
They're gonna need to reintroduce that story. Like, there's still too many parts that are missing, I think, and it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of years, honestly. But they're following in Marvel's footsteps, or at least they're trying to, and that's what it feels like.
John.
I think we're good. Like they got this. They got this out of the way.
How much money did Jeff
Like-
Johns just give you to say that?
No, like no, think about it. Everything's out of the way now. They've got their actors established. Like I don't think Green Lantern's gonna happen right now. I think they've pretty much written it off.
Just gone.
That Ryan Reynolds
But
I
doesn't he
hate
play
to say
such
Ryan
a
Reynolds
big
with it
part?
because I don't think it was his fault.
No, it was not.
Like he
But I think he was a terrible
he's the
choice.
face. He's the
He's
face
a terrible
with it, yeah.
choice for.
He was
Green
more
Lantern
Kyle
anyways.
Rayner than.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
he's
He was a terrible Hal
He's
Jordan.
gonna take the part, right? And he's gonna listen to whatever they. But anyways, but now all this is done. All the groundwork is laid. And there's, of course, the movie just came out, and they're already posting that the new Justice League is gonna have a lighter tone, which I definitely think they need this to adjust to, because the jokes, they threw in like I only want to say one or two jokes in the
Two jokes.
So,
and they didn't
Two.
really kind of fit just because the theme of the movie. So I think they do need to lighten it up. They need to, just
It seems so
just-
weird
yeah,
too.
Just
it was
get
so
rid of it.
awkward.
Like, they
Yeah.
did it for
shouldn't
Man
have
of
put
Steel.
it,
They
yeah.
did it for this one, and now I hope they can just realize that, hey, you know what? It doesn't need to be the start. These heroes don't need to be. Everything doesn't have to like. I was like checking the lights and stuff. I'm like, did my brightness like turn down or something? Like, I can't make out. Like, you guys are talking about the Flash cameo. I could barely see what was going on. Right? So,
yeah, like it was hard to make out
It was just a
who
little
it
too
was.
dark.
That's
So if
why,
they
yeah.
lighten that up, they lighten the tone up a little bit. Wonder Woman's gonna drop. Gal Gadot did a good job. Like I was skeptical about her. Like I know a lot of people brought her up, like her size and like her presence or whatever. I thought she did a good job. So her movie is probably gonna be pretty good. I think it's gonna be a period piece as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would
in
be
the
cool.
war or something.
World War II,
Yeah, World
yep.
War II. So they're gonna kind of backtrack and do her movie, and then Ben Affleck. I think after they pre-screened the movie, that's when they were like, "Oh, you know what? You were awesome in it. Let's get you to do Batman movies." So I think he
More
probably-
CrossFit.
I think
Yeah.
he.
Wow, yeah, that was
He's
a
gotta pull
terrible
that tire.
scene. Holy smokes! Like how much do we have to see Batman work out with a sledgehammer on it?
Well, here's the thing.
Bruce Wayne couldn't afford some like nice high tech.
And every
he's taking a sledgehammer to.
No,
Where'd he get the
he's got to
tractor
go
thing?
old
No,
school.
man.
He's wearing
Yeah.
armor. He's
Yeah.
got to put that RoboCop
every
suit on.
superhero movie needs their main actor to be topless. Like everybody has that moment where
Yeah.
you work so hard to get that body. Guess what? You're showing it off.
Yeah, it's in the
Hugh
contract.
Jackman went full. He's like, you're gonna see everything.
Yeah, but that's Wolverine. It's in
That's
the
a
character.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
But that's him. He's like, I work so hard and I'm almost 50. Guess what? I'm naked in this entire movie. That's Hugh Jackman. So, but anyways, I digress. Andre, what's your hopes and dreams for the future?
I don't know. I can't like I don't have hopes and dreams like particular like I wish they would get a sense of where they want to be and what type of story they want to tell. If all they want to do is do a live action cartoon, I think that's all that and I shouldn't say that as it's a bad thing, because the Justice League War cartoon was pretty shallow too, and we had all the heroes and they just got together and fought Darkseid. You can do that. I don't know how that's going to play out in the grand scheme of things for the Justice League movie. Perfect case scenario, they tell a story where these heroes come together for a reason and find a reason to stay together, not just, oh, Darkseid comes and we need to stop him and then we go our separate ways again. I think that's too much of a common ground in these superhero movies, where they come together for one threat and then at the end of the movie they just bug off and go their separate ways.
Right off on their motorbike.
They're just like, see ya.
And their fake NSXs and whatever
right?
they drive off in. Yeah, see you later, guys.
Yeah.
So let's do a last quick, fun, stupid question. DC backs up the truck to Robert Downey Jr. once this whole Iron Man thing's done. Say, we're going to give you a character, pick whoever you want. Let's set you up in our universe. Argument's sake, Booster Gold. Who says no?
This is Booster Gold because you love Booster Gold.
Why would you want Downey to play Booster Gold?
I'm just saying, Downey, whoever you want, be in our universe. Could that happen? Could you imagine that happening?
It's happened. Ryan Reynolds went over to Deadpool, and who's the other character that?
Scoot McNairy went over, switched back and forth. He was in Marvel and Iron Man 3 and went over to DC.
I think it's gonna go the other way. Characters are gonna people are gonna come to Marvel rather than Marvel go to DC.
You think so? Why?
Because I think Marvel has a stronger background right now. I think they have a better name for themselves in the movies.
Cash money says a lot of things.
I think reviews say a lot of things too.
No, I totally disagree. Cash money is all. Seriously, no.
Well, no,
the way
thing.
these guys choose movies, like again, let's look at this movie. Like I don't know what the script was for this movie, but if I read the script as what I saw on the screen, I don't know if I would want my name on this. Like the guy who played Lex Luthor, like he's got a pretty good career.
Jesse Eisenberg.
I would have read this and been like,
Right.
Like, I don't need the money. Like, you can't pay me enough to be in this if this is the script.
So it's not a money thing.
No, I think it is. I think he obviously got paid, and they don't care about the quality of their source material. I think
it's a matter of who they get to play.
I think it's a superhero chance, and they're like, oh yeah, I want to be a part of a superhero movie. And right now, superhero movies are a thing, and that's why. But people are going to start realizing that Marvel's producing better content than DC.
Well,
they're producing more content.
Yeah.
But Batman.
Yeah, other than
Batman.
Yeah.
That's the
frankly
guns.
That's the
the Batman movie I'm most excited to watch is the Lego Batman movie. That's all the one I care about.
Nobody cares about Lego Batman.
Because when you talk about darkness and sadness, that song is damn catchy. Like, that's the only thing that matters. So, anyways, we're gonna wrap this up right now because we're going pretty long. So let's get everyone to sign off, starting with Will over there.
What am I doing?
Say goodbye.
You're saying bye, Will.
Oh, okay.
Signing
I'll
off.
see you later.
John.
See you guys.
All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed us rambling on about Batman versus Superman. I'm Andre.
Yeah, Mike here. I also got a YouTube channel, and
What's that YouTube channel?
It'll be in the description below.
What about those audio? Those people that are.
YouTube.com/Mike LaFave. 2
Sweet.
eyes and Mike LaFave.
Awesome.
But yeah, it was good times.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for watching. Stu here. All right. See you guys later.